from a jazz background, I'm all about improvisation. That's been the course of my study. It's how to improvise. So my question for you is, how is improvisation a part of this music?
My question is, how has music evolved, Zimbabwean music? And then the part two of that question is, for those of us in the diaspora, what do you think our role is when it comes to contributing to Zimbabwean music locally and globally?
So I was kind of wondering if you could talk a bit about maybe the evolution of Tupi music.
Exactly. Like, where can we find records or something where we can listen to this music? Like, is there anywhere where this music is being collected or stored, where we can find it?
Certain stories, secrets, and technicalities are never revealed by an artist unless they are speaking with another artist. On the program Artist to Artist MonoCast, Mono Mukundu speaks with fellow artists about their careers, lives, triumphs, and struggles. These discussions demystify what happens behind the scenes in the arts industry, offering important insights for those aspiring to join the industry.
Chaka Zinyemba, that's my name. I'm the Mbira. I play Mbira with the Mbira Renaissance Band.
Which type of Mbira do you play? Nyunga Nyunga?
Mbira Uru.
That's my favorite. Because the Nyunga Nyunga is modern.
Yeah.
And it's limited.
Yeah.
It's very limited.
This one is way
also,
more.
This is the Nyunga Nyunga?
No, this one is the Nare or Mbira Uru.
Also, you play this one?
That's the one he plays.
Yeah.
Because the Nyunga Nyunga, the Nyunga Nyunga? Yeah, it's limited and it sounds the same. But anyway, we like it.
Yeah.
But it's very recent.
Yes.
And it's not traditional.
It's an invention, so to speak.
Yeah,
they added 2 keys, I think, from Mozambique version.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
So Mozambique is their own version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that new as in, like Mbira is ancient. So is new as in like in the 60s when the marimba was also like kind of put into the schools?
The story goes like this. There's a Zimbabwean who was called Jege Tapera. He had relatives in Mozambique. So he visited these relatives in Mozambique and he saw the Nyunga Nyunga and he liked it. But it had lesser keys than the current one. So he came back with the Mbira and then together with some musicologists at a college in Bulawayo called the Kwanongoma. They started modifying it. They added extra keys, played around with the tuning and created a new resonator that plank. I think I have it.
Yes, the wooden one.
Yeah, the wooden one.
Okay.
So they added the resonator, this plank one. Yeah. It's supposed to have a covering somewhere there, but mine is broken. So this is the Nyunga Nyunga. Right. So it's very easy to play within.
That's the one I've been
within
trying
10
to
minutes you can play a song if you're fast enough.
Yeah.
Sing.
That's not a song.
I just did this myself. I think a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it's easy.
Someone brought it for me, and I was just learning.
So now when we're playing, when we're rehearsing, you should bring
you should play. But this one is ancient.
Yeah,
now. This one, I think, is thousands of years. Not this particular one, but I mean the type of Mbira.
So I was taught by Chimedza, Albert Chimedza.
Oh, Albert Chimedza.
Yeah, he was my teacher.
He's a Mbira guru.
Yeah, that was my teacher when I was just about to finish high school, 2007, thereabouts.
That's very recent.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's quite recent. So
you're still a kid.
I'm still a kid. So then I moved to Canada, and that's where I then met James a few years later there, and we talked about forming a band. But that's me, Chaka, and I'll hand it over to
and this is Munya Viali. Don't want to waste time.
I'm Chiedza. I've been living in Canada for the last 10 years. I'm the vocalist in the Mbira Renaissance Band, and I play hosho.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm James. I've been living in Canada for 46 years.
That's forever.
I play the bass.
Okay.
You left Murungu. My name is James Murungu.
When you're in Canada, it doesn't matter because they're everywhere. Because they manufacture them in Canada.
I'm Tony. I'm the drummer. I just finished my music degree. I've been playing with Shaka for about a year now. Usually I play jazz back in Canada. So this is a little different music for me.
Seems like artists who play jazz, they love African music a lot.
Of course.
Because right now I'm having lessons with a guitarist he's from the States, I don't remember which part, but he's a professional guitarist who plays jazz. So we started lessons last week online. Yeah. So I've noticed that most jazz musicians, they are very much in love with African music.
Absolutely. The home of jazz before it existed is from African music or African music. So a lot of the rhythms that we try to incorporate are naturally played here by Zimbabwean or musicians from across Africa. Yeah, absolutely. But naturally. So.
As a drummer, wasn't it difficult for you to find where the one is?
Sometimes.
When it comes to counting.
Yes.
Because I've played with a few people from the States and from Europe. When you play Mbira music, they usually find it difficult to find where the one is.
Yes. No, I've been listening to, Thomas Mapfumo songs and stuff like that. And a thing I find interesting is usually if the intro is just Mbira playing, then I will hear the one in a different place than when the band comes in. So it'll start in a certain way and I feel it like that. And then usually it's...
And you're like, what?
So when it gets there, I go, oh! And then,
Do you all know Choni's? Yeah. She had a gig at Haifa. I think that was around 2003-4. Yeah, around 2003-4. It was Adam Chiso. You know Adam Chiso? Adam Chiso was on Nare. And Choniso was on Nyunga Nyunga. And the bass player and the drummer were from the States. Adam was supposed to start. And then everybody comes in. So the drummer couldn't find where the one was. So Adam had to play while stepping his foot. And then the drummer would be staring at the foot. And then...
I remember when we first started playing, when we had two Mbira. And it took me and our previous drummer several months to figure out where the one was.
Several months.
Well, we were practicing because these are new songs that were being brought in. So I don't know, maybe not months isn't the right word, but it took a while.
It took a while.
Yeah. Because what Tony was saying, where we think the one is, it's just a little bit before or after where my ear would hear it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like that with Mbira. And what about the chord progressions? There are some songs with very funny chord progressions. Have you ever played Neondo? Tozungaira. Have you ever played it?
We have, but a long time ago. We didn't really go deep into it.
Which one?
Let's see. If you don't mind, I can play it on this Mbira.
Okay. Here we go.
I'm not clapping my hands. Because at church they said this is a so at my church they don't allow me to
But what he's saying is very true. It's a joke, but it's true because this instrument was demonized a lot. I'm sure you know the story.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the story. But it's amazing how it has survived all that demonization and all the criticisms. Because there was a time when it was illegal for you to be seen playing this instrument. The early days when the missionaries came.
Yesterday, we were at Music Crossroads with Prudence and Tariro, Negitare. What we've been doing, what we're doing is we're doing a bit of a cross-cultural exchange. You know, we've been playing as a band since 2013, different versions, different iterations. And so we've got an album that we're releasing. And we've released 2 songs. We said, well, as part of this as we promote our album, let's also go to Zimbabwe, share the music that we've been putting together, but also learn 1 or 2 things from our colleagues in Zim. So when we went to Music Crossroads yesterday and we learned that Mbira is now compulsory, I was happy. I was so happy that Mbira is now compulsory for any students coming through, whether you are a guitarist, whether you're a drummer, you have to learn Mbira.
That's a good thing. Because I think as a nation, we are sitting on this music. We are sitting on gold unknowingly. Because if you check the number of tourists that come to Zimbabwe just to learn this instrument, people are coming from Japan, from the States, from, Jennifer Kaika.
Yes.
She's from the States, but she plays Mbira flute.
We've met so many, there's a whole culture of people, Americans playing Mbira, Marimba on the West Coast.
Oh, this is what they call Zimfest. I was there, I think 2003. I was shocked. It was all Americans, white people, all of them playing Mbira perfectly. And most of them are students of Dumisani Maraira. So I think just as Jamaica took advantage of their music, reggae music, because right now they've got reggae festivals like the Reggae Sunsplash, Summerfest, whatever. They've got a lot of festivals. I was there last year in February.
Oh, we could have bumped into each other. We were there last year when we went to Jamaica?
Which month?
Oh, the year before. We were there the year before.
Me, I was there 2024. So they've really taken advantage of their music. Because even as you get to the airport, the entrance that we used to get in, there was a huge picture of Bob Marley. And there was reggae music playing at the airport. We need that in Zimbabwe. Because I think we can have festivals, just Mbira festivals, which are nationally organized. And a museum, something like that. And I think as a nation, we'll tap into the tourist market.
Because this is just one version of Mbira that...
You see, there are so many different versions. Are you able to play the other ones? There's the other one called Njari. Njari is difficult.
I tried it because my cousin plays it. And he tried to show me. Yeah, it was difficult.
Njari is difficult. And then there are different tunings as well. And then there are certain songs. You know Jacob Mafuleni? I was talking about chord progressions. Jacob Mafuleni, he played a lot with a lot of gurus. So he's got some songs that they call Mbira Dzepasi. And I think by pasi, they mean Pasichigare. And I think the word should mean ancient, I think. The chord progressions are weird.
It's not like 1
Because I was sitting trying to count and trying to figure out the chord progressions. Usually, some songs, it's easy for you to say that's 1, that's 6, that's 4, that's 5. But those ones were very complicated. I think if you have time to meet him,
I've met him before. He came over to Canada on a tour. And we went to BC and we spent a whole week.
You know some songs that are very ancient, very ancient songs. So we are saying that Neon has got a funny chord progression. There are some which have got more complicated chord progressions.
It's something that we as a band we have to. I don't say we struggle with, but when, let's say, I introduce a Mbira song, we have to spend some time really unpacking how the progression works in my head anyway from a traditional instrument, and then how do we map it on to the guitars? How do we map it on to how are we counting for the drums? And the way I'm counting is usually very different.
Like you were saying. And you as a bass player, how did you find the Zimbabwean rhythms. The other time I had visitors from, which country was it? It's not Holland. It's from Europe. So he was asking about the rhythms.
Right.
So I was explaining to him that the way we play the ngoma, those rhythms are the exact rhythms that we use when we play our guitars, like that's in 6/8. Then if it's 4/4, like chicken. Those are the rhythms that we use when we play our instruments. How did you adapt to those rhythms?
It was a bit challenging at first. Coming from, like, my background is playing rock music mostly.
And rock music, everything is
very like. I kind of became obsessed with the Verenguena jazz band maybe about 15 years ago. So I got into music from Zimbabwe through there. And then from there, discovered Thomas Mapfumo, Oliver Mtukudzi, like, the Four Brothers, all the older style of stuff. And so I guess for me, I was trying really hard to understand the rhythms by listening to as much as possible. What I've learned since then, and I think the thing that from our time here in Zimbabwe, what I've really discovered, what I want to take back is, like, it is the rhythms. So I want to go back and learn the rhythms, and I want to absorb what I can here, learn the rhythms, and then I think that'll make the bass playing, finding the one will be easier.
Have you ever done any Mande songs?
Oh, yeah. Yes, we just
so
did our
Mande
first
is the one
Mande song.
actually. Yeah, that's the one that I'm probably most familiar with.
Yeah.
Is Mande.
Yeah. But Mande is not very complicated to locate the time signals.
No,
it's in 6/8, but it's not very complicated. But the tushiri is the.
I'm doing my productions. Mande is in 6/8, right? But I use it in 4/4.
Yeah. There are people who do that. I remember I had a session with Antonio Foccioni from Italy. We did a song with Chioniso, and he was programming his drums in 4/4 and playing his 6/8 song. But what about quantization? Is it simple to quantize?
Yeah, 4/4. When I'm doing Mande, cut. Simple. I quantize, and it will be right on the grid.
You know, it's different. But me, I'm used to, if it's a 6/8 songs, it has to be in 6/8 time.
But what I do is my drums, I do them in 4/4, like with the programming. I do it in 4/4 for Mande, and I take the washo from 6/8. I bring that and I put that, and it will just link. I don't know how.
Okay. One thing I've noticed with digital audio workstations, it's very personalized. How you use it is very personal. You can use the same computer, same instruments. This one has got a different sound from mine, but when you are using the same thing. But me, what I've done is I've created loops and samples, my own loops and samples. Do you all understand music recording language?
Yes. Basically, enough.
I was looking at you. Most women are not interested in music production. So
I would say we have generally because we just finished being in the studio for our album, so I think we have a base level. Because of being in the studio, we all have a bit of a base level understanding. Some a bit more than others.
Tony studied too, though,
and Munya. But I think the rest of us, generally speaking, if you talk about loops and samples, we will understand.
You understand. Yeah. So I called in more than 15 drummers, more than 15 percussion players. Then I created my own drum samples, ngoma samples, osho samples, maoko samples. So even when I program, you can't tell whether it's live or because I checked online, they only had loops and samples for Western music. They did not have loops and samples for Zimbabwean music. And if they had loops and samples for African music, it was West African.
Right.
There was nothing Zimbabwean about it. Very true. So I had to create my own loops and samples.
Wow. Just so you know, now it's not your loops; it's everyone's loops. I
was about to say
again.
I don't know who's told. Because I was speaking to Japanese producer. What's his name? No, the other one, Tamuka. And he told me, I've got your loops and samples. And I said, how did you get my loops and samples?
I have them.
So right now I'm busy investigating. Working with the FBI.
This is the leak.
I'm shocked. The other time I was in, what's his name? Nox Studio in South Africa.
Yeah.
Hid my samples.
And you're like, wow.
They need you right now.
Maybe you can go to Mars and find them.
But that's a really good point, because the stuff that we've done in the studio, we should take that and create our own loops and samples that we use for our own music.
We don't need to. We can just steal his.
Just like what everybody is
Like
done.
everyone else.
He's got them already. As a singer from Zimbabwe, were you interested in Mbira before? The reason why I'm asking is a lot of young people in Zimbabwe, they want to identify with Western music, Western cultures. We call them Masalad in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Those people who are too Americanized. They dress and try to talk like Americans, and I don't know when they speak what they call American. I don't know which accent. Is it West Coast or Southern States or whatever?
Some kind of amalgamation.
Yeah, it's an amalgamation of accents.
Yeah.
But most of them, when they move to Western countries, somehow they start falling in love with our local music. Was it the same with you?
Pretty much. Yeah. So I grew up Pachi Salad. I went
which areas do you...
I grew up in Bardell. I went to
so you were a
convent.
proper salad.
But my father actually was a composer, Kuroma.
Oh, Fatamurung.
Exactly.
You know, it's a ngoma that they use in the Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah, we were.
So it goes Kandangini Fatamurung. The Fata is what? The priest. The priest is white. The priest is white. That's Fatamurung.
So you are
Fatamurungu. Yes.
But Anje why is it Fatamurungu? Sister Mutema. Fatamurungu. Sister Mutema.
The priest is white. The nun is black.
And then you can put the story together by yourself.
You won't say it on camera.
No.
For obvious reasons.
Exactly. Yeah, so I was raised on a lot of like Shona Catholic music.
And it's very Zimbabwean.
Yes.
It's very Mbira based.
Very.
Tushiri.
Yeah. But when I left, then I found that I was like, I was searching for a way to connect to back home. And Chaka at that point was, he was playing Mbira and getting also very deep into the music. So Chaka and I are married. And
nice.
He was always playing, Mafumo
so it must
music.
be musical family.
Yes. We then would be listening to a lot of Mafumo, and I'm like, I knew Mafumo was there in the background growing up, but I never actually paid attention to the music.
So you never listened to Mafumo before you left?
Not consciously, no. But the music was there. It's not like we didn't listen to it, but I would never sit down and put a Mafumo CD myself,
But now you can.
Now, absolutely. Absolutely. So, so over the last 10, 15 years, just been getting more and more immersed into the music. And a lot of the songs, I knew them growing up, but I never actually paid, a lot of attention to them. So just learning to sing all these traditional songs. And
the campaign is difficult to play. Oshe is very difficult to play.
Difficult.
That tushiri.
Yeah.
Did you play it at church? Or you played the
I played exactly. I played that one. So
was it easy to adapt to the tushiri?
No, actually, when I started, I started teaching myself on YouTube, and about 15 years there was very little on YouTube.
Yeah, there was very little.
So we actually went to Zimfest in Oregon. I think it was 2016, and we met a bunch of people who were playing there. And actually, that's where someone was like, "Oh, let me show you." And so I got so many lessons. At Zimfest, yeah.
And the teacher was Zimbabwean?
No.
Yeah.
It was very strange.
That's a very interesting part.
It was very strange.
Zimbabwean being taught how to play Zimbabwean music by an American.
Exactly.
This Tazungaira, I was taught by a Canadian in British Columbia.
Yeah. It's very, very strange. But I picked it up, and after that, once I got got in the habit, then I was able to teach myself more styles of Hosho. And so now, like we went to a show, Kwakurai Makore, on Friday, and so I was just observing.
He's doing very well.
Oh, he's doing incredibly.
He's doing very well.
So I was just observing the whole show players. I was like, okay, I can do that. Yeah, no, you shouldn't do better. So yeah, it's a journey.
Yeah,
teaching ourselves.
I was a guest at one Africa Day event sometime this year, and I gave a speech, and I said, if we are not careful, if we keep ignoring our music, our kids will be taught how to play the Mbira by the Japanese. As Zimbabweans, pane gold ratakagarira. Gold is our music. Saka tikaita zvekupusa makore ari kuteera Mbira. Vazukuru vedu kana vanenge kudzidziswa ne.
Yeah, that's happening.
It's happening.
So I'm a prophet.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please pay your tithes.
10%. Yeah.
You know, if I can just add one more thing to that, a lot of the stuff we've been doing is almost self-taught. Because when I started learning Mbira, I learned from Albert Chimedza. I was at the end of high school. He said to me, I'm giving you 10 lessons. And then you're on your own, because then I was going to university. So I left when I was 17 for Canada. So since then, everything we've been doing is from watching YouTube videos, or if we meet somebody along the way. I met Tendai Mparuta. He was at the same university. He taught me one or two things. Then you go and, oh, there's a festival there, I'm going to go and learn. Oh, guys, let's all go here and learn from so-and-so. So really, over the last few years, we've been like picking up bits and pieces along the way and piecing together what our band now looks like.
It's very interesting. You know what? I'll be interested in doing a jam session. Yeah. The only person who will be disadvantaged is you.
That's okay.
Because I don't have a drum set, I'll have to program the drums. So you play bass, you sing and show, then you play keyboards. Is that okay?
No, there's one person from our group who's missing. His name is George Gio. He's our guitarist. He couldn't make it because of a mental. George.
George Ndopi.
He's
from Zim.
No. He's from Canada. Yeah. He really wanted to be here. He would have loved this. So, you know, we're thinking of George as we play this. Or Gio.
So it's a special request to George. So what's the name of this song? We are about Mauya. It's a welcoming song.
It's a welcome, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Like enjoy at the beginning of every set.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I'm not going to play any guitar line that's on the song.
Yeah.
I'm going to create everything.
Oh, that's perfect.
Wonderful. I'll even alter my Mbira a little bit just to, you know, have a different feel somewhere.
you after these short commercials.
Manolio Studios is a recording studio that operates independently and is located in Harare, Zimbabwe. It is owned and run by Clive Mono Mukundu, a music producer, musicologist, session musician and multi-instrumentalist who is better known as a lead guitarist.
The studio is renowned for creating exceptional organic content and is highly regarded for its exemplary professionalism.
The studio became fully operational in January 2007. It is a creative space where several renowned artists began their professional journeys and received guidance. The studio has produced recordings for local, regional, and international artists. Here are a few noteworthy music projects that were recorded at Manolio Studios and produced by Clive Mono Mukundu.
A love song, my lovely country, Zimbabwe. Come on now, may your souls rest in peace. Andini ubachura za pauno.
Ese pata shika ndindi nongo tenga drink koi wewe. Pese pata shika ndindi nongo tenga drink koi wewe. Anaenda waendi. But you will always be my baby, you will always be my...
Manolio Studio, the harmony of quality and professionalism.
My first question, and then we can pass it around. One thing that I want to say, I really appreciate the videos that you put out. For those of us who are out there who, we don't have a chance to experience our music all the time, and to keep in touch with what's happening on the ground, even get the background into how some of our favorite artists and producers are working. We watch a lot of your videos.
Thank you. The reason why I did those videos is one time when I started going on YouTube, I noticed that there was nothing about Zimbabwean music. That was around 2010. That's when I started doing those videos. And I didn't even know anything about monetization. Do you know that my page was monetized this month?
Oh, wow. I'm going to go to
yeah, all this time I was just doing it for fun. But I don't have the numbers though. So I'm not paid much.
But still, it's a start.
But the point that I wanted to make is I did not do it for money. I do it for the music.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that there was nothing Zimbabwean, because there was a lot of rock, there's a lot of jazz, a lot of rumba from DRC, a lot of makranga, nothing Zimbabwean.
Yeah. For us, we love it. It's helpful.
They
got to you. But some of the things you talk a lot about the history of Zimbabwean music. I know a bit about Mbira music just from my training and stuff. But my question is, could you maybe give us a quick 5-minute overview of how you see contemporary Zimbabwean music has evolved? Maybe since I know there was an era where we were playing a lot of rock style music in the 70s, and then Anamafumo transitioned into Chimburenga music. And there've been different eras, and up to now, the big era, the Zim dancehall era. Maybe from your perspective, how do you see, how has music evolved, Zimbabwe music? And then the part two of that question is, for those of us in the diaspora, what do you think our role is when it comes to contributing to Zimbabwean music locally and globally?
Okay, starting with the historical perspective, the music industry as an industry started in the 30s. The very first band was started in 1933. It was called the Bantu Actors. It was a fusion of theater and music. That's why they were called actors. By Kenneth Mataka. When he got married to an artist. She was called Laina Mataka. They formed what they called the Mataka family. Safiro Mazikatiri was part of the Mataka family, and he started the Mukadota family. So that was the very first band in 1933. So that time there was that rural to urban migration, and the first township in Harare was Mbira. So they used to have loudspeakers for information dissemination. So in between they would play music. So the music that they used to play a lot was jazz that time. So, you know, what you listen to is what you end up liking. So our first groups were very much influenced by jazz and country music. There was a country musician from America called Jimmy Rogers. He's the one who inspired what we now call Masganda.
Oh, wow.
The one-man band that we have in Zimbabwe. In fact, it's not popular anymore as it used to be. So they started by copying country Western musicians, and then the music evolved until they created their own genre called Masganda. And even South Africa, they got it from Zimbabwe. Yeah. So there was Masganda, and then there was jazz, old jazz, slow jazz in the 30s. They were mirroring what was happening in America. So in the 40s, they started big band jazz, mirroring what was happening in America, like the Duke Ellingtons and so forth. So we had our own version of a big band jazz called D. Blake Evening Follies. They had about 20-something people. And from that band, they produced a lot of my artists from that band. And that band also came from the Mataka family, from that first band. Yeah. So that was in the 40s. In the 50s, they evolved to quartets, trios, and they were mirroring what was happening in America. They also had quartets, and because they were seeing everything on what they used to call bioscope films, and from those loudspeakers. So that was in the 50s. In the 60s, there was a group from Zimbabwe that recorded an album. They recorded with Polydo, City Quads. Yeah, they recorded an album that was very politically charged. So the government sort of banned local musicians to record music. That was in the 60s. So because there was a gap, the South African market noticed the gap. So Zimbabwe was flooded with South African music. That's when South African music took over. And also there was a lot of music coming from DRC. The reason why they loved music from South Africa is because it was not political that time, because it was during apartheid. Some of our groups in Zimbabwe, they started also playing South African music. It was called Simanji Manji. If you know Matlatini and the Hotela Queens, that was in the 60s. And then in the 70s, there was a rock explosion, rock and roll music. Because our radio stations were concentrating on foreign music because they were trying to avoid political music. So in the 70s, we started having a lot of rock music being played from our radio stations. And we had a lot of local rock musicians. Wells Fargo from Blawayo, in Eye of Liberty, Dr. Foot Switch. There was a guy called Manu Kambani, he was called the Zimbabwean Jimi Hendrix. And he used to wear a t-shirt written, Jimi Hendrix is dead, but Manu Kambani is alive. And he was a very popular rock musician. He used to play the guitar with his teeth, just like what Jimi Hendrix used to do. So that was in the 70s. But in the 70s, there was a rise in nationalism. So artists like Thomas Mapfumo, Oliver Mtukudzi, Zex Manasa, they started experimenting with a local, genre that's 100% local. Because Manji is not ours. Rumba is not ours from DRC. Sungura is not ours. It came from Kenya. It was called Benga music. In Zimbabwe, we used to call it Kanindo, but Kanindo was the name of the producer, not the music. So they started experimenting, adapting the Mbira to the guitar. That's when we started having that Chimerenga guitar, that Mbira guitar. So according to my Zimbabwean music history teacher, she's called Miss Joyce Makwenda. I don't know if you watched the interview that I did with her.
I did.
Yeah. She says the first Mbira guitar song to be recorded is a song called Tora Mapa Zaram Chirima. It was recorded Zaram Chirima. Yeah, it was recorded by a band called Tutankhamen Band. The first producer to record Zimbabwean music effectively was called West Nkosi. He had been sent by Gallo to Zimbabwe to scout for talent. He's the one who recorded Zex Manatsa, Oliver Mtukudzi, and a number of local Zimbabweans. So that was in the 70s. That's when that Mbira to guitar sound started. 1980, on our Independence Day, Bob Marley came to Zimbabwe. Then that's when reggae music was introduced to Zimbabwe. So we started having a lot of reggae bands like Transit Crew, but Transit Crew, it was 1988. There was another one called Nastafara, I think it was in 1983. And then Zigzag. Zigzag, what Zigzag band did, they fused reggae music with Mbira music. So you could hear Mbira guitar with some reggae music. It was very unique. So this was one of their most popular songs. Hear that Mbira guitar. So the lead guitar was Mbira, the keyboards were reggae, the vocals used to use a lot of uro. That yodeling, that Zimbabwean yodeling style.
Oh wow!
So this was one of their biggest hits. Gomora Masare. So in the 80s, it became an unwritten rule that whatever show you play, even if you're a Sungura band or whatever, there had to be a reggae section during your set. Because otherwise you'll be pelted with whatever.
This is how Zimbabweans became addicted to reggae. Yeah.
Because the reason is when Bob Marley came to Zimbabwe, people were used to artists who are flamboyant. Like, you know what, hip hop artists, they don't want to mix with people. They act like gods, but Bob Marley was very humble. You know, reggae musicians are very humble. So you'd see him seated in the stands, Murfaru Stadium, with ordinary people. He would mix and mingle with ordinary people. So people fell in love with his humility, and Zimbabweans got addicted to reggae. And then in the 90s, there was a rumba explosion. Kanda Bongoman, Pepe Kale, and we also had a number of local rumba groups like Peter Tangwena, Marakashi. They even played with 2 or 3 of them. That was in the 90s. But when we moved to the 2000s, that's when we started having a Zimbabwean R&B version, which was called Urban Grooves.
Now, isusu masalad no mataka kuremo. Mu Urban Grooves, ana Decibel, Mafrik. Yeah. Roy and Royce.
Yeah. And around 2015, that's when dancehall started picking up. 2014, 2015. With the likes of Winky D, Soulja Love later on. So dancehall, because of that reggae influence, earlier in the 80s, dancehall became very huge. So right now it has got a very huge urban following, although we cannot export it because it's not ours. You know how it is internationally. They love authenticity. They want you to sing music which sounds like where you come from. Right now, we also have genres from Nigeria, that Afrobeats. But when it comes to Mbira, it's like I mentioned earlier, it refused to die. I'm sure you can see Kure Makore, his following is becoming very big. And even if you attend Mbira gigs, like V Mofu, Monkira Inarira, Mbira Zenarira, they always full houses. They are not active on social media. You don't see them trending anyway, but they've got a huge following. People love Mbira. So right now, that's where we are right now. Every genre of music has got its own community and its own fans and its own culture. So if you are from the dancehall community, you might not know what's happening in the Mbira community. We also have the rock community as well. I attended one gig. It was full house. I didn't know that we had so many white people.
Are there like artists that are coming up in that space?
I even recorded one artist. She's called I'm forgetting her name. But that's when I attended their show because I'd gone to watch a show. So they have their own community and their gigs are always full. Wow. So right now we've got different communities. And the biggest artist right now we've got Japrez. I think Japrez is now the biggest artist. And Munya used to, I think he produced some of the biggest hits for Japrez, like Twirio, and the one who did Twirio. And that time Japrez mentioned your name and your name became very popular in some combis. In some combis were written his name.
Oh, really? What about that?
So people were very disappointed when he moved to Canada.
We were happy.
Oh, okay. But a lot of people in Zimbabwe were disappointed because you left which year?
2018.
2018, and then last year, 2024 and 2023, over 15 music producers left Zimbabwe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, over 15. When MacD left. MacD left. When Blessing Mchenga, when Tari G Fingers, over 15 music producers left Zimbabwe.
What's driving that?
Money. During the analog era, music producers used to have a percentage from the sales. Now we don't have sales.
Right.
That the streaming thing is not working. Even American artists are complaining, but it's better that side. But this side it's zero. So when it comes to music sales, it's totally zero. Like with the music, it's now just a business card so that people know what you do. So music production doesn't pay. So you produce for Mbira Renaissance. Mbira Renaissance becomes big, but you still remain in this small studio. You still charge the same amount of money. Mbira Renaissance are now moving with GD6 cars and they are still driving a Honda Fit.
That's the reason why I left. Because it was not paying. You know, I have kids, I have a family. You record someone, they give you $30. They'll say, well, okay, I'll give you another $30 next week. You put that $30 to get a gas. The next time they come again, they give you $30. You put that on gas as well. So you're not making anything. Because we are spending maybe 10 hours doing one song. So
the funny thing about Zimbabwe is those artists that make a lot of money are the ones who are very difficult to pay studio time. It's a paradox. It's very funny. Because those artists that are starting who are new, you don't have problem. Of course, the money is still little. It's very difficult to survive on it. But those big artists, those that are very popular. And also, we also have a problem with young producers who want to be known. So they record big artists for free. So that they will be mentioned, like what Japreza did to Munya Viale. So they use those producer tags to push their names. So because of that, especially for the dancehall community, the artists are now used to free studio time.
Right.
Which hurts the industry.
Yeah. So right now, music production is not paying. So the difficult part is you cannot say it public. If you say, music is not paying, people start saying, you're now finished. So producers are just living quietly. The past 2 years, over 15 prominent producers, not new producers, prominent music producers, they left the country. But for people like me, maybe it's easier because my kids are grown. I don't pay school fees anymore because my kids are grown. Otherwise, but the situation right now for music producers and band members, it's not good. The reason why I said band members is because in Zimbabwe, we have bands that are not bands. It's a band in name. You have band members. but you don't know how much the band is going to be paid.
Okay.
So in commitment, you are supposed to commit as a band member, but when it comes to money, you're treated as a session musician. So the band leader can be paid $10,000, and he takes home $9,500 for himself, and the band is to share $500. That's the situation in Zimbabwe. So you could be playing for the biggest band in the country, but you can't even afford to buy a bicycle. Most players that are playing for big bands, they don't even own cars. They can't even buy cars. Let's forget about buying a house. And when they get sick, you start to hear people saying, you've been traveling all over the world. How come you have to do donations to pay for your hospital fees? Why didn't you save money for a rainy day? But he was living in the rain all this time. So the people who are really benefiting from the music industry, they don't reach 10. And we're excluding their band members.
That's just the individual.
We are talking individual band leader alone.
From your perspective, if you think of a group like us, we are a multicultural group with different influences that we put into our music. Where do you see groups like us who are Zimbabwean/Canadian, Zimbabwean/American, Zimbabwean/British? Where do you see us in the music space globally and even locally in Zimbabwe? What do you think we should be doing or thinking about in terms of contributing to the music culture?
First of all, if you look at all genres of music that went international, it was due to people moving to the diaspora and they maintained their roots. Because if you look at reggae music, the first immigrants were moving from Jamaica to UK and they started reggae bands in the UK. That's how reggae music moved to UK and started having groups like Aswad and Missing Roots. They are all based in UK. That's how reggae music started moving abroad. If you look at Afrobeats in Nigeria, it's also artists who moved to other countries. And even people who were not artists, because they would go to clubs and pay the DJ to play Nigerian music. So to me, it's an extension of our music to see our artists who have moved abroad sticking to our roots and playing our music, and also having people from where you are now living also playing our music. It's sort of like an honor, because it means it's good. Because if it wasn't good, I think James and Tony wouldn't be here. So it means we've got something in our music that's sellable outside.
From a jazz background, I'm all about improvisation. You know, that's been the course of my study, is how to improvise. So when we went and saw Kurai play this Chimarenga music, my question for you is, how is improvisation a part of this music in subtle ways? Not like jazz where it's happening all the time, kind of chaotically, like the drummer's holding down the beat and everything. So he's not going to improvise away from that. But for example, we were listening, and of course they play for relatively long time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Whatever. So there was a period of time where the bass player was playing, and then probably for about a period of 5 minutes, he just stopped playing. So the rest of the band keeps going, and then at some point comes back in. So would that be planned, or did the bass player make a decision in the moment that he was going to stop playing? Or did Kurai maybe tell him to stop playing for a period of time? How do they organize this music, basically?
Okay. Our instruments, although there's an element of improvisation, but it has to be very structured, including the melodies. So every song is got to have its own guitar melodies. I can give an example. Where's my plectrum? Yeah. For example, if you listen to Oliver Mtukudzi's songs, if it's Ziwere, always you hear everybody screaming in the crowd because they identify the melody, because they know this song is Ziwere. So every song has got such elements where you've got distinct melodies for each and every song. So it will be structured. For Ziwere, before he sings, and then when he starts singing, the lead guitar goes like throughout. You don't play anything else. You play that as long as he's singing. And once you stop singing, you go back again. Bambire, bambire. So you notice that most of our songs, especially music by the icons like Thomas Mafumolo Bamtukuzi, you can count the melodies. Usually they don't go over 3. It's usually 2 or 3 melodies only per song. Then there's the part which you talked about where the bass stopped playing. We call it kunyutura. And it's usually done in Sungura music. But of course, other genres are now adapting it. Where the band will be playing, everybody will be playing, and then all of a sudden the lead guitarist and the bass player, they stop playing. Then the rhythm guitar starts playing, and people love that part. That's where people dance a lot. Yeah. And if you listen to Sungura music, there's one guitar that's usually left alone. That would be the solo for the rhythm guitar, like when it goes on for a long time, just the rhythm guitar alone, and people will be dancing. They will be waiting for that part where the bass stops and the lead guitar stops, and you just leave the rhythm guitar alone. So, answering your question about improvisation, it's allowed, but on a minimal scale. Because it depends with the band leader, really. Because I remember that Oliver Mtukudzi was very strict with these melodies. You had to stick to what's on the record. So once you join the band, you have to memorize all the guitar lines. And if you are given a solo, there are songs where you were given sort of like a jazz fusion solo where you play scales. I noticed that with Oliver Mtukudzi, he was more interested in the pentatonic scale. Like if you play blues scales or anything that's not that's chromatic, you're in trouble. Everything had to be on the pentatonic scale and on the major scale. And he wanted it to stay as close as possible to the recorded version. Yeah, so there's room for improvisation, but it's not much when it comes to Zimbabwean music. But I was mischievous twice, because the other time we were playing in Canada, and then it was a very big festival. And he said, we've got Mukundu on guitar. And he gave me a solo. Then I thought to myself, should I just play that pentatonic scale? That and I said, today I'm just going to play what I want. If he's going to shout at me, that's fine. So when I was given a solo, I went wild and played a solo, and the crowd clapped their hands. And when we came back to Zimbabwe, he gave me a solo on the same song. And I went back to the original solo, and he said, no, we want that Canadian version. So I ended up with 2 songs. That way I was allowed to do my own solos. That was proper improvisation. But besides that, he wanted you to stick exactly to the melodies. Because the melodies are very structured. And the people in the audience, they know the melodies as well. So if you play something different, the audience will complain.
Even in the context of the kind of Chimurenga music where they're playing for long periods of time.
Even if it's Chimurenga, there's not much room for improvisation. You have to stick to the melodies. And of course, if you play for too long, at times it becomes boring. Once in a while, you can put a new lick in, but it has to be very minimal because they are very strict. Remember, there's what we used to call the mask. If you are too experimental, he'll just look at you in a second. We used to call it the mask. Then if he looks at you that way, you know that you've messed up. So whatever you have done in the past few seconds, don't do it again. So the other fight that I know, that I remember very well, was with the drummer. There are certain songs like Wake Up. Yeah. So he starts with the guitar, and then when the band comes in, the drummer is supposed to go tap, and then everybody comes in. Just one strike on the snare. So at times young drummers would go, he never liked it. He wanted you to stick to that car. It had to be simple, because he loved his simplicity. So he was always having fights with the drummers because of that.
I not with the drummer, with everyone.
Yeah, especially young artists.
Yeah.
The superstars, the want to be superstars. Yeah.
Because when you're young, young artists are now listening to jazz, to everything. So at times they want to fit it in the music, and the elders don't like it. They want you to stick to. He used to say, "Chibaranzi changu ndo chinobata." When I joined the band, I was invited by the manager, Debbie Metcalf. She had seen videos of me playing fusion stuff. So the other time she was saying, when I invited you to the band, I'd watched that video. Why don't you play that stuff? Even a little blues. And I said, I'll get in trouble. He said, okay, try it tonight. We were in Swaziland that time. And I told her to come during sound check. Because usually Tuku would introduce new songs during sound check. So he introduced the new song. And then when I was given a solo, I started going to some blues licks and he stopped everybody. He used to call me the pastor and he said, you know what, my pastor, what you are playing as a kids and egg.
Oh.
How do you translate that?
It's not you can't. Yeah, it's not exportable. We can't take this anywhere. We can't take this on tour.
So stick to. Yeah. And then I knew I have to go back to the pentatonic scale.
Yeah.
Then he started the song again, and then I went back to the pentatonic. When I was given a solo, they said exactly that's what they want.
So you do get to kind of improvise your solo, but around the specific, in this case, the pentatonic scale.
Like especially if it was Oliver Mtukuzi.
It had to be that kind of sound.
You could improvise by playing Zimbabwean, Mbira licks. But if it's a fusion of jazz and Zimbabwean music, you have to stick to the pentatonic scale. And I think maybe it's because his previous guitarists used to stick to the pentatonic scale, like Pilani Dube.
So that's the sound that he wanted.
He was now used to that, and he wanted the licks to be very simple and melodic.
Okay, yeah.
So when I joined the band, I was so super excited. Yeah, when I joined, took I think 2012. Yeah, I was super excited. I went for my first rehearsal. I was playing there. Said stop.
You're twisting my ear. From the keyboards, he just wanted major chords. 1, 4, 1, 5. And if there's a minor, that's fine. But never play a seventh. Never play a diminished chord.
He would look at you like.
That's the mask. That's what we used to call the mask.
So like you'll be playing like
yes, and then he turns around to you.
And it is
yes.
That was kind of like
yeah, he was very good at that because he didn't want the audience to notice that he's rebuking someone.
That was like James Brown and his.
Yeah, exactly. So he'd be laughing at the crowd, but when he turns at you, he'd be frowning. Then when he turns back to the crowd, he's smiling. Yeah, even when he shouted at the drama, the incident that I'm talking about, he was greeting the audience. Yeah. This is my music. This is not Prince Edward School. This is not a jazz festival. Yeah. And then it comes again. There was about 4 episodes. So he never wanted anybody to see that he was shouting at somebody. Yeah. So he pretended to be nice and happy, and then he'll be peace.
But one thing I liked about him as well, after that, it's done. He will never come back to you again.
No, if he rebukes you and you change, no story. Was with me, I don't remember even a single day that he shouted it. Not even once. Because I studied him, I knew. Have you ever read 48 Laws of Power?
No.
There's a book called 48 Laws of Power. Rule number 1, never outshine the master. That's rule number 1. So I made sure that I never outshine the master, and I play within the pentatonic scale and simple licks. Then he was happy. That was a good question.
I've been wondering for a while, like having been listening to music from Zimbabwe for quite a long time. It's like, and I kind of started thinking more about this yesterday too when we were at Music Crossroads. It seems as though like of all of the musics that have come out of Zimbabwe or in the culture, it seems like tuku music is something that from what I've observed, it seems to be like, I mean, there are all these different musics that are embedded in the DNA of Zimbabwe, but it seems like tuku music has like a particularly special place because this is what I'm hearing coming from kids that are learning at the school. I've been wondering for a while too, like listening to Chimurenga, it's very unique. listening to like Sungura and these other things, like they come from different places. Tuku music to me seems to kind of like come out of thin air. So I was kind of wondering if you could talk a bit about maybe the evolution of Tuku music.
Okay, yeah, that's another good question. Tuku music and Chimurenga music, they are all Mbira-based music. They all draw their melodies and rhythms from Mbira music. Even if you listen to the song that I was playing,
yeah,
you can hear the Mbira guitar, the Chimurenga guitar. They both use the Mbira guitar. But the difference with Tuku music is that for the rhythm guitar, you used an acoustic guitar.
Right.
And then number two, the first producer that worked with him was South African. So he encouraged him to include some Batlanga. There's a genre called Batlanga from South Africa. That's another element of Tuku music. That's one thing unique with Tuku music, which is different from all the other Zimbabwean genres. But answering your question about evolution, if you listen to Oliver Mtukudzi from the 70s when he started up to the mid-90s, his music was very fast. There were no female vocalists, back vocalists. There was no percussion. What changed was in the 90s, Steve Dyer from South Africa came to live in Zimbabwe. He was staying at Debbie Metcalf's house, and Tuku used to attend his rehearsals. So Debbie Metcalf says that Tuku started getting some inspiration from the way Steve Dyer was playing. So from that time, the tempo of his music slowed down. His guitar melodies became very distinct and very identifiable. You can tell that's song yakati, that's song yakati. And then he started incorporating female back vocalists. And then he started using percussion. And then Debbie, the manager, is the one who encouraged him to be produced by Steve Dyer. The first album that was produced by Steve Dyer is the album that is called the song Dandi, the Tuku music. And it blew up. Because there were some Afro jazz elements. Of course, the main sound was the Mbira, but his acoustic guitar was distinct with some little bit of jazz licks here and there from the keyboards and from the guitar. And then I think that's when Tuku music was really properly defined. So I think that answers to the question about the evolution of the music. And then, because of his popularity and also the center that he built in Norton, he used to train a lot of youngsters.
Right.
And when he trained them, he was training them to play his music as well. As a result, right now we've got a number of artists. Some who are now becoming big, like Mbeu and Sarungano, and who else? Bernard Betera. The number of artists who are now playing that Tuku music genre is now a sub-genre on its own.
Yeah.
Because we've got a lot of artists that are playing the Tuku music sub-genre.
Right.
And the other question, Mono, is I can't remember whether it was Tony or Cheza for asking what determines that this is Tuku music. Who was asking me?
Might have been Shaka, actually. I'm not sure.
But I think I answered it when I said the main influence is the Mbira music, although the Mbira was not played except for a short period of time. The Mbira, you can hear it in the guitars. Yeah. That's a Mbira guitar. So there's the Mbira guitar, and then there's a little bit of Mbaqanga, like I mentioned when he was produced by Western Coast. He encouraged him to include a little bit of Mbaqanga in his music,
right,
so that it appeals to South Africa. It's a South African genre.
Yeah. And
then the female vocals as well. And I think his female vocals were influenced by West Africa to some extent, because there's a lot of unison. And then his guitar playing style as well. It had a lot of West African influence. But that's not 100%. Where's the acoustic? So it's 100% Zimbabwean. There's a little bit of West African. So I think that sums it up.
You had mentioned earlier too that like people love the Mbira still. And do you think that a part of that might be, maybe this is obvious, part of it is because of Tuku music. Like he's had that, because he's got such widespread popularity, everyone loves him. Mbira is sort of like embedded in that music. The uniqueness of that sound comes from his version of Mbira guitar.
Yeah, I think it's not just Tuku. I think the Mbira itself has had a very huge influence in our music. Because you notice that there are some churches that refuse to play the Mbira.
Right.
But you can hear a lot of Mbira rhythms in the way they sing. Like the Fatamurum, but that's Mbira. If you listen to the Mapostoli, because there's a white garment.
Yeah, we just saw them on Sunday.
There are a lot of different sects, and some of them will be very small numbers, some of them will be very big numbers. They wear white robes. Some of them refuse to listen to the radio. They've got very different strict rules. Some of them, they say that their music is written by angels. It's from heaven. So they don't want to mix it with instruments because instruments are from the devil. But if you listen closely to their rhythms, there's a lot of Mbira in it.
Right. Yeah.
So I've been quietly making that statement because I usually take their videos and add instruments on top. And I'll be playing Mbira rhythms. And people will be shocked, that's a GT song. That's Mbira. Because people didn't notice it. But I think Mbira is just in our bloodstream.
Right.
But sometimes we refuse to associate with it, but it just comes out on its own. So the other time, I added instruments to this Mapostoli song. They got so angry. They started calling me, I think for a month, they were calling me almost every day.
Serious?
Yeah. Some were telling me that I'm going to die in a week. Yeah. Some were saying you're going to die, you won't last a month. Hey, what you've done. These songs were written by angels. You cannot put instruments to this song. So I was getting threats every day.
Wow.
They were so mad. They didn't want their music to be associated with them. But I kept doing it. And I'm sure they noticed that I was not dead.
Those guys, they write songs.
Their music is so good. They've got another sect. What they do is they imitate instruments with their mouths. It's so unique. Let me look for one that I did instrument. It's so unique. Because in Zimbabwe, almost every church has got its own genre or subgenre. Almost every religious church or every religion. So the Mapostolis, they've got another, I don't know, is it Joan Marange word? This one is another one. You can tell that's Mbira. So I added instruments. This one is the one that got me in trouble. They're doing that with their mouths. So I added instruments.
How did you get the recordings of them? How did you get the recordings?
It was a video which was recorded by a phone.
Oh, okay.
Then someone sent it to me.
Okay. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's very unique. It's a cappella.
Yeah.
So I also added instruments, but this time they no longer shouted me. They no longer insult me.
Like we mentioned, a lot of this is the music is self-taught for us, and a lot of it is us just trying to discover, our culture, our musical history, and you go online and you just don't find some of these things, like some of the artists that you mentioned, like Zigzag. Like, where can we find records or something where we can listen to this music? Like, is there anywhere where this music is being collected or stored, where we can find it?
That's a very good question. I'm happy that a few artists are starting to put their music online, but a lot of it is not documented.
Yeah.
A lot of it. So I'm always encouraging musicians to document, to put their music online. And some of it has been put online by unscrupulous pirates. They're benefiting from it. And the owners of the music are not getting anything. So right now it's still a struggle.
Yeah.
It's still a problem, but we need that.
What about like at the National Archives? Are they collecting,
But there's this lady who I was talking about, who was my teacher, my lecturer at the Zimbabwe College of Music. She's got a very huge collection.
Okay.
Even from the 30s.
Oh, wow.
She's got music from the 30s.
Oh. That's who we need.
You really need to visit her, because she's even all the history that I was talking about.
Yeah.
I got it from her, because she was my lecturer at the Zimbabwe College of Music. I think if you visit her, you learn a lot.
Yeah.
Where are they leading? What role do they have at the moment?
Okay, first of all, there's no conspiracy to ban women from participating in music. But if you look at our history, like I said, the music industry started in the 30s in Zimbabwe with a lot of women. The first band was run by a couple, Laina Mataka and her husband, Kenneth Mataka. Later on, Susan Mapfumo, Busi Ncube, with a lot of women. Most women that are venturing into music these days, they do not do mainstream music.
Oh, okay.
They do not do Sungura, they do not do even Chimurenga. They want to do R&B. They get a lot of airplay on radio, on TV, but they can't do shows. The music is sort of like a fashion. Everybody wants to, they are moving with the times. Yeah. But
so they're on radio, but they aren't live.
Yeah, we've got a lot of women on radio right now. But those that do Mbira like walk. Miranibo is on tour right now in Germany. She's doing very well.
Yeah. And Felinand
is also doing well.
Yeah. That's very true.
Yeah.
So the number of women that we have that are doing well, especially on the live scene, are those that do Mbira music, like Diana Samkange. Yeah. She's now calling herself Mangwenya. Okay. So the women in Mbira music are doing well. But the other ones that are trying to copy Nigeria, America, and South Africa, or Jamaica, they are not doing that well.
Mutoponjani is
Sokomkanya.
Sokomkanya.
I was going to go down and Thomas. No voice. No pride.
Changosala kunguze malocks are not.
The name Mono is from the single dreadlock that I used to wear. That's my first band. 1980.
I was looking at that and I couldn't tell if it's you or Mukanya.
That's me. That's my first band in 1980. That time I had one dreadlock. Then I had proper dreadlocks soon after school. That's when I had the full dreadlocks like him. And then in 1994, my girlfriend got pregnant and the money was tight. Music was not paying well. So I joined the police band. And I had to cut I went for the interview with the dreadlocks. They told me you have passed, but you can't be a policeman with dreadlocks. So you have to cut your hair. So I cut off my hair, but the job did not work out well. And then soon after that, I joined a church band. And then at church dreadlocks, they didn't want to hear anything about them.